The next type of data type is list, and as you already know by now that list is basically an array of multiple elements. The elements can be a mix of data types. It can be integer, it can be string, it can be decimal, it can be other arrays or other lists and other dictionaries also. So here we have customer detail. The first one might be the phone number. The second one is the email. The third one is another array or another list which contains two characters or two strings, Visa and Amex, and then maybe a dictionary. I have not talked about dictionary, so I'll not go into too much of detail here, but this is basically a list. It is unordered and you can have duplicates also. So here the first element is integer, the second one is string, and the third one is a list. Now if you have to initialize a list, we can use the list function, list open bracket close bracket, to initialize a blank list, and we can modify list also. And these are the various operations that you can find out. So let's say you want to find out the first element, we can mention the offset or the index, and index in list starts with 0. So this is the 0th element, this is the first element, this is the second element, and this is the third element. Then we can append a particular value also. We can mention, let's say, customer details dot append x. So this particular data type or this particular variable would be appended at the end of this existing list. We can also insert at a particular offset and a particular value, meaning let's say I want to insert another phone number here. I can mention offset as 1 and value is another phone number. Then you can pop also at a particular offset. So if I mention, let's say, customer details pop 1, then this would be removed from the array. We can sort a particular list as list is not sorted, and we can sort it. We can remove value which would delete the first element with the value. We can count the number of elements in a list. We can add one more list using another list, so using the extend function or extend method. Then there are a few other operations like reverse. We can reverse the list. We can find out the index of a particular value. We can remove a particular value. I think I have already mentioned this. Then you can update also. So let's say I want to update the phone number. I can mention the offset, which is 0 in this case, offset or index, whatever you might want to call it, and then you mention the value. Similarly, we can mention offset and length also. Let's say I want to update multiple elements, so you can mention that, and we can clear the entire list also, so which will remove all the values, and you can get the length of a particular list. Now if you want to find all the items in a particular list, we'll have to use for loop. We have not talked about for loop, but this is how we can get it. For x in the entire name of the list, and then I can mention print here. So all the elements in the list would be printed. So let's do some hands-on on list variable. So the first thing is that if you have to, let's say, initialize a list, I can mention this list function, and if I type cust details, then it would show me that it is an empty list. Now I can put value here. So let's say this is the phone number, and let's say this is the email. Then let's say the credit card types that the customer has. For some reason I want to keep it also Visa and Amex, and let's say the zip code, and maybe the country that the customer belongs to. So this is a list, and as you can see, we have different types of elements. We have integer element, we have string element, we have another list inside of it, then we have another integer, and we have one string. So let us go ahead and fetch individual elements. So if I have to find out all the elements in a list, I'll use the variable. It shows me all the elements in that particular list. Now let me go ahead and get the first element, and that would be 0. The indexing or the offset starts with 0. So this is the first element. Then this is the second element, which is the email ID. And interestingly enough, third ID would be the list again. So Visa and Amex. Now if I want to get the primary card type, so I'll have to mention 0 again, because this is a list and I want to get the first element of the list. So first I'll get the third element using 2, and then I have to get the first element in the third element, so 20, which shows a visa. If I want to get the second element, this is how it would be. Then let's say I want to get the fourth element and then the fifth element. So this is how we fetch elements or individual values from a particular list. So this is my customer details. Now what will I do? I'll append with one more value. So let's say IND again, so maybe small n, and now I'll have 3 INDs. So IND, and here the n is capital, and then I have one more IND. So as you can see, I can have duplicates also. And now I want to find out the count of this value IND in this particular list. It says that there are 2 values. Of course, it is case sensitive. So this is the first one and this is the second one. Then let's say I have one more list, customer tech. Now here I have Python, data engineering, and machine learning. So these are the 3 values that I have in this list, customer tech, which is Python, DE, ML. Now I want to converge this list with this list. So the one that I have, customer details, I want to converge that. So we'll have to mention extend here, then followed by the second list. So now the list customer details have been extended. Now if I try to get the value, as you can see, you have Python, DE, and ML. Right, so these 3 elements of the custech list has been added in the original list that we were using. So we have seen append, we have seen count, we have seen extend also. Now let's say insert a value in a particular location. So what I'll do, I will insert at second element, which would be 1, and let's say I want to insert one more phone number, 11222222. So now it has been inserted. So this phone number should be the second element now. So as you can see, the phone number has been added. So we can actually insert at a particular index also. So that's why you do an insert. And let's say you want to remove the value, we can definitely remove it. Let's say I want to remove this phone number again, I can just mention remove, and now if I type cust details, this phone number has been removed, or that particular element has been removed. So I have this customer details. Let's say I want to remove these additional values because this is not needed, this is not needed. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th element and 6th element. So let me pop it, cust underscore details dot pop number 5. So IND has been removed. Now if we type customer details, see this erroneous IND has gone and I have duplicate value, so I'll remove it again using pop, and as you can see the second one has gone also. I can reverse it as well. So let's say if I type reverse and look at cust details again, so as you can see it has been reversed. So starting with ML and ending with the phone number. Now I want to let's say I want to find out the offset of a particular value. So let's say 56001. I can use index and it should give me 4. So this is the output. It says that index is there in the this value is there in the 4th index or the 4th element, or actually the 5th element. Now let's say I want to update one of the values. So how do you do that? You mention the element. So instead of, let's say, Python, which is the 3rd element, I want to mention Java. So now it has been updated. Now if I type customer details again, Python is gone and Java is here. So the 3rd element has been updated. So this is how we can update the 3rd element, or individual element rather. Then you can sort it also. Currently it is not sorted. So if you see, it is ML, then DE, then Java. So if I use the sort method, now it is giving me error because I have this element. Now let me remove it. So it has been removed now. And if I look at customer details, the array is gone, and let me try to sort now. So the error here again is that we cannot sort integer and string value together. So I'll have to remove the integer value also, let's say. So integer value has been removed. There's one more integer value, which is the phone number, and it has been removed also. Now cust details has only these, and now I can sort it. And if I type cust details again, so it has been sorted based on string. So remember, if you are using sort, all the elements should have the same data type, either integer or string. Now you can find the length also, how many items are there in this particular list. So I have 5 items, so that's what it is showing me. And now I can clear this entire list also using the clear method or the clear function. So now if I type cust details, there should not be anything, it's an empty list. Now let me put some more values. So let's say this is the list of technologies. Now I have to find out each individual element. So I'll have to find out these elements and print them one by one. So I'll have to use for loop for I in customer underscore details and then print I. Don't worry about the for loop as of now. We'll talk about for loop anyway, but what it is doing, it is printing all the elements one after the other. So if you have to print all elements one by one in a particular list, we'll have to use the for loop. So that's all about list. Let's go to the next data type, which is tuple.